עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כל יושבי תבל. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. סלام עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלام, 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 סלام עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלام, שלום. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם.
Taken hold and seems to be holding. We have been through so much over these past couple of weeks, worried about loved ones who live in Gaza or throughout the land of Israel, checking in with friends and relatives, reliving perhaps some experiences that we've had years ago. We've also dealt with the challenges of difficult conversations with people within our world who might not understand the importance of defending Israel and of Israel's right to defend itself. And so as we head into Shabbat, we do so wanting to find peace within ourselves, wanting to find peace within our worlds. And I invite everyone to get those candles ready as we prepare to light them. Yehuda Amichai wrote, "Don't stop after beating the swords into plowshares. Don't stop. Go on beating and make musical instruments out of them. Whoever wants to make war again will have to turn them into plowshares first." We hope that these first steps toward peace will become more lasting conversations to a much more powerful kind of peace. So take those candles out as we welcome in this holy day with light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של Shabbat. Blessed are you, eternal our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with your commandments and has commanded us to light the Sabbath light.
Continue our sanctification of Shabbat with the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit. כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים. No. We continue our welcome to Shabbat with joyous songs as we begin with Hine Ma Tov. How great it is for brothers and sisters to hang out on this day. Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How great it is for brothers and sisters to hang out on this day. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How great it is for brothers and sisters to hang out on this day. Iyo, 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 oh, oh, iyo, iyo. Hine Ma Tov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Ma Tov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Iyo, iyo, oh, oh, iyo, iyo. How great it is for brothers and sisters to hang out on this lovely day. How great it is for brothers and sisters to hang out on this day. How great it is for brothers and sisters to hang out on this lovely day. How great it is for brothers and sisters to hang out on this day. Iyo, 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 oh, oh. Iyo, Continue with the words of Psalm 95. Lechu neranena, l'Adonai, nariya letzor yisheinu. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nariya letzor yisheinu. Nekadna ana betoda, bizmirot nariya lo. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nariya letzor yisheinu. Ki el gadol Adonai, melech gadol al kol Elohim. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nariya letzor yisheinu. la 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 la, Pnei Shabbat, Pnei Shabbat nekavela. Welcome the Shabbat bride with these words together. Ya la 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 chatoti, ya la 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 likrakala, ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat nekavela. Ya la 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 chatoti, ya la 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 likrakala, ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor וזכור בדיבור אחד, איש מידו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, בשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. Ya la 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 chatoti, ya la 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 likrakala, ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat nekavela. Ya la 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 chatoti, ya la 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 likrakala, ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat nekavela. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. Ya la 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 chatoti, ya la 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 likrakala, ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat nekavela. Ya la 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 chatoti, ya la 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 likrakala, ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat nekavela.
As we prepare for our call to worship, I invite everyone to also reach out to one another, to send a message of Shabbat Shalom to someone in the community who you know well, or perhaps someone who you do not know yet at all. And we can rise in body or spirit.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidbaro lariv alaviv lechokma poteach she'arim God of creation, who makes the evening fall from light into darkness with the setting of the sun. You unfold the heavens with brilliant moon and stars and wrap our souls with peace. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidbaro lariv alavim bechokma poteach she'arim Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv
Love beyond all space and time. Your love enfolds your people, Yisrael. We receive it in your teaching, your gift of Torah, sacred obligations, discipline, and law. So let us speak these teachings when we lie down and rise up, and find joy forever in your Torah and mitzvot. They are the very essence of our life, ours to ponder and study all of our days. May we always feel your love. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Blessed are you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel.
Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Adonai Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Leolam Vaed and you shall love Adonai with all your soul and all your mind. Teach these words through day and night to all your children, for each their right, and wear them proudly as a sign upon your hand, and as a crown above your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates throughout all time. Shema Yisrael Adonai uncharted shores of history. We still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it's eternally Egypt. That there's a better place, a promised land, and the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there's no easy way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together and singing ya la 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 ya la 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 la, singing ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Moshe ומרים ובני ישראל, לך אנוש רב בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם יאי לה 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 לה, yai la 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 la, singing yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la. One more time with me, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la. Singing yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha ba'elim, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, mi kamocha nedar. Nora zilot, oseh veleh, oseh veleh. Nora zilot, oseh veleh, oseh veleh. Malchut hara'u banecha, okay, ayam lifnei Moshe, Ze'eli, 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 anu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch, le'olam va'ed. Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha ba'elim, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. We continue with the Hashkivenu, this prayer that we should be sheltered by God's Shabbat Shalom, this prayer that we ask that everyone knows that there is love and understanding in this world. Understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Ve'ha'amidenu, Shomreinu Lechayim. Uvros Aleinu, Shabbat Shalom. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם בגדולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בגדולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. בששת ימים עשה אדוני, את השמיים, את הארץ. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
Our prayer book has a beautiful reading just as we come to the Amidah that says, pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. As we turn to our Amidah, I invite you to rise in body or spirit.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. 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 שלום רב על ישראל תשים לעולם שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל 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 בכל עת ובכל שעה בכל עת ובכל שעה בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל המברך את עמו ישראל
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So this week, I want to talk about something that comes up in the heart of this week's Torah portion that might seem a little bit foreign, and that is the vow of the Nazirite. It was the practice that people could take on a vow to become a Nazirite, which would enable them to separate themselves from the community. They did this by taking a vow to abstain from wine or anything that created wine, to vow not to cut their hair and to allow it to grow really long, and to separate themselves from death by not being near any bodies of people after they died. This form of asceticism was an expression of holiness. It was what people did to dedicate themselves completely to God so that they weren't distracted by the comforts and the pleasures of the world. Some uplift came from this, that it was this form of ultimate, albeit time-limited piety. But there is a different way to understand it as well. So this ascetic tradition, which might be a little bit akin to the monks who lived, like the asceticism of monks or such people, it could be understood, this practice, in a very different kind of way. Hold on one second. My computer's going crazy, and there we go. Now I can see what I wrote a little better. There we go. Okay. So years ago, Rabbi Lisa Gruschow was teaching about the Nazirites at Torah study. And after this, a congregant came to her explaining that she wanted to take her own version of the Nazirite vow. For her, it was part of her healing process as a recovering alcoholic. After a study process going through the text, she decided to make a vow in front of the ark in a private ceremony in which she would speak these words. I am choosing to become a Nazirite for several personal reasons, she said. First of all, being an alcoholic, this commitment I have already made to stay sober will also help keep me connected to God and allow me to include my spiritual beliefs and being a Jew as part of my commitment to sobriety. Also, making commitments for a year, not to cut my hair and not to consume any grapes or grape products will remind me that I am a Jew and how important my beliefs in God are on a daily basis. This is not for status or to be better than anyone. It is to help me to become a better me. The individual in Rabbi Grushkow's congregation understood that taking a vow enabled her to sanctify her recovery process. This woman came to understand the ceremony of the Nazirite through an entirely different lens than the ascetic piety that was understood long ago. As Rabbi Grushkow explains, we know that for recovering alcoholics, a sip of alcohol has a different effect than it would on anyone else. The rabbinic concept of building a fence around the law could have very different tangible meaning, that we avoid not only alcohol, but also ingredients used to make it, as a way of separating oneself from temptation. Likewise, avoiding contamination by the dead could be understood as distancing oneself from associations in one's previous life as an addict, a path that can lead to a return to addiction and ultimately to death. And not cutting one's hair, perhaps that could be seen as a commitment to humility, to valuing the integrity of internal choices over external appearances. Also, as some commentators suggest, the fact that Nazirites can be recognized as such allows others to help them on their paths by reminding them of their commitment. Back in the 11th century, Maimonides taught that a Nazir, a Nazirite, abstained from alcohol and other substances in order to alleviate his cravings. Rabbi Moses Isserlis of the 16th century taught that spiritual and physical healing go hand in hand. If someone's worldly pleasures get out of control, they could take the vow of the Nazirite in order to regain balance. Such teachings are fascinating when you think of them. Perhaps this person within Rabbi Gushkow's congregation did not take this out of left field after all. After all, in the Torah, there was no Alcoholics Anonymous or 12-step programs, but there was an acknowledgement, even then, that a person could struggle with addiction. According to psychiatrist Dr. Timothy Fong, an addiction is a continued recurrent engagement of either drugs or behavior despite causing adverse or negative consequences in a person's life. And if it was prevalent enough to be discussed centuries ago, it is certainly prevalent today. As we know, addiction comes in so many forms, from drinking to gambling to substance abuse, just to name a few. Rabbi Andy Berlin explains, the ingredients necessary to become an addict are complicated and not at all consistent across the board. Some addicts have a genetic predisposition and others have childhood trauma, and others might have mental health or mood disorders. Some addicts have a combination of these. What all addicts share is a lack of tools and strategies for handling emotion. Instead, the addict turns to something else to numb emotion, to fill a void inside them, or to overwhelm ever-present anguish. This act of numbing, of stuffing down feelings, can cause terrible shame. The Torah gives the Nazir an unspecified period to complete an introspection that he or she requires, because each Nazir works at his or her own pace. When Nazirites took this time aside for this vow, to focus on what they needed to heal, it was them who could decide when they were ready to step out of the vow. They would then declare to end their vow and bring a penalty offering to the tent of meeting. Some rabbis claim that this penalty offering is there because it is not good to abstain from the pleasures of life, and therefore an offering of penalty needed to be offered for the time as a Nazirite, as an ascetic. Some believe the exact opposite, that the Nazarite is losing some holiness by stepping out of the vow. But as Rabbi Berlin posits, it is neither of these two. She explains, in order to remain sober or abstinent, one must make an expiation for the harms one has caused. This is why the Nazir brings a penalty offering before God. Not only is the Nazir making amends for his or her own wrongdoings, but also, more importantly, Nazarites are given an opportunity to physically and symbolically release their old, crusty, hang-on shame through the act of sacrifice. The Nazarite vow gave people a way to give themselves the reflective time they needed to walk through that which they were struggling, and to do so in the midst of a sacred, beautiful, and highly respected process. I find it fitting that the passage about the Nazarite vow leads straight into another prayer with which we might be very familiar, and that is the priestly benediction. These words that we say perhaps every Friday night, or perhaps only on special occasions, but we certainly hear within our congregation. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God bestow favor upon you and may you find peace. Through radical self-care, the Nazarite is able to do what she needs in order to find peace within herself. All of us are flawed, imperfect, and perhaps unsure, but our Torah portion reminds us that is part of our journey. Through the sacred self-care of becoming attuned to our needs and working through them, may we find peace, such as the peace spoken through the priestly benediction. As Rabbi Lisa Grushkow teaches, Parashat Naso recognizes that as human beings in all our individuality, we make mistakes and we are flawed. It is not despite this, but because of it, that we are worthy of blessing.
So those who struggle with addiction are very familiar with the words of the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. However, one does not need to be struggling with addiction to have those words resonate with them. All of us, I think, can resonate with those words at different moments in our lives. And these are those words in Hebrew. Eloheinu, ten lanu et hashalva, lekabel et hadvarim she'en bicholtenu לשanoתם, העומד לשנות את הדברים אשר ביכולתנו, והתבונה להבדיל בין השניים, בין השניים. אלוהינו תן לנו את השלווה, את השלווה.
Thank you, Cantor, for bringing this in. And this is one of those moments when the Cantor said he knew this song. I was like, there it is. There's that gift to just find the perfect thing at all times that we are so grateful for. So right now we turn to our prayer for healing. Healing for everyone in the Middle East, healing for all of us, healing for everyone who is suffering from addiction, healing for everyone who is in need of healing of mind, healing of body, healing of spirit in any way. I invite you to continue to write names in the chat of anyone who is in need of our healing prayers.
The one who blessed our ancestors. Yisheberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Ve'Yaakov Ve'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel Ve'Leah U'yevarech et ha'cholim. We pray in the words of Moshe Rabbeinu. Elna refana lagat Yisrael. Elna Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel Ve'Leah U'yevarech v'yirapeh et ha'cholim. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh HaCholim.
We also offer the mourner's Kaddish prayer in memory of people who have died in recent days and in recent weeks. We remember Jamie Taus, Fedora Brooks, Bob Kleinberg, Tamar Davidson, and Anastasia DeJorgebeck. We also are remembering people whose yahrzeits fall this week: Anna Ark, Abraham Ash, Robert Barnett, Marvin Belzer, Ronnie Belzer, Eli Berger, Michael Boaz, Shirley Brandt, Julius P. Brown, Ruth Cahill, Esther Kane, Hyman Cohen, Alfred Cohn, Mel Dollinger, Frida Dubin, Gertrude Dwoskin, Milton Efros, Eugene Feingold, Harold Fenton, Jack Friedman, Sol Gabin, Moses Menachem Galant, Max Glassman, Bernice Goldberg, Dorothy Goodman, Barry Gross, Nikki Hamilton, Edward Herman, Joseph Hodes, Robert Jackman, Louis Kahan, Goldie Katnick, Lionel Richard Kay, Herbert Lackman, Isaac Land, Dina Levine, Harris Levine, Edward Loveman, Felix Mayer, Maria Mizrahi, Jacqueline Milinarski, Marilyn Moskowitz, Grace Elizabeth Neely, Stanford Opner, Shirley Pike, Sylvia Rose, Harry Rosenkrantz, Philip Roth, Louis Rubenfeld, Leonard Norman Shamrock, Shirley Shamrock, Israel Shuster, Rose Marie Schwartz, Malvina Schwimmer, Ethel Schaefer, Donald Patrick Shannon, Ted Simon, Irving Sobel, Michael Tauber, Julius Taus, Julie Vermez Lundquist, Carmen Vicars, Rose Ballin, Ada Gedson, and Ralph Zinner. I invite you to write the name in the chat of anyone else who we are remembering this week as we join together in order to offer the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'almad yivrach harotei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayachon u'vyomachon, u'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, b'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yihei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudasha v'richu. Lei lam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nachamata. Damiram v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be a blessing.
Oseh shalom v'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'mromav. Yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Oseh shalom v'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. All we are saying is give peace a chance. All we are saying is give peace a chance. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And I especially want to thank Marvin Belzer, who has been our Zoom greeter tonight, and Tom Rosenberg for being our Facebook greeter, and Linda Rubin, who is here in part to do announcements on behalf of the board. Thank you so much, Linda.
Oh, you're welcome. Shabbat Shalom. I am honored to
She muted.
Okie dokie. Shabbat Shalom. I am honored to be here tonight on behalf of the Board of Directors. I'd like to take a few minutes and share our upcoming services and programs for this weekend. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., please join us for our Shabbat morning service, during which Daniela Gross becomes a bat mitzvah. Incredible. She can't be that old. All are welcome to join us virtually. Then at 2 p.m. tomorrow, please join Rabbi Cassie for Torah on and off the trails. You can join in person at Point Vicente Lighthouse, or join virtually from the trail of your choosing, or even from your backyard. For those gathering in person, we will meet at 1:45 at the trees near the first parking lot. Please be prepared to wear a mask for the entire time together. At 5 p.m. tomorrow evening, please join Pam Tarlow for a peaceful half hour of meditation guided practice. And then at 7 p.m., we will conclude Shabbat in community as Rabbi Cassie leads us in our Havdalah service, bidding farewell to Shabbat and ushering in a brand new week. I wish each of you a restful Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Linda. And I hope that everyone will choose to stay around for our Oneg Shabbat. We're going to be going into breakout rooms. Bring your food, bring your snacks, or just hang around so that you can spend some time with old friends and new ones.
Definitely bring yourselves and be there with all of your Temple Bethel friends as you get whisked away at this time into your breakout rooms. Shabbat Shalom. Rabbi, we're still streaming.
I know, because
I was wondering where you went to. I was like, what happened?
I made you host. I can't stop the streaming.
Ah,